Hi, sorry guys, I'm sitting here doing exactly what
we're going to talk about.
what we're about to talk about. I'm looking up statistics, and here I am not being present. And I'm looking at my cell phone. How many people are doing that nowadays?
Yeah, but you got a job to do right this second. Okay, so we want to talk to you guys.
Talk about how ironic and how
hilarious,
hypocritical.
So we're here to bring you some Tuesday truth. And we're going to talk about how cell phones are ruining your life. And actually, Zach, I was going to have you talk about, to kick us off, your weekend protocol with your family. Would you do that?
Cool. Yeah, for sure. So in recent days, we had gotten, remember, 4 kids, and all of them now have electronics. And man, I only get to see one of my sons and one of my daughters every other week, just by the way it works out with visitation. And I was noticing a trend now that they're teenagers with electronics and dad's not cool anymore, that this very little time that we had was spent not really being present and doing things together. So probably about, I would say about 2 months ago, we had created a rule. It's perfectly fine. You get your electronic for X amount of time, but when we do the planned activity that we have for the family, these devices, from the iPad to the iPhone to everything that you could be distracted by, including the TV, unless we're watching a family movie, it gets locked away, including mine, except when we're going out, I will not be on the phone. I will only use it just in case an emergency arises. And the odd and funny thing is, suddenly dad's cool again. We're having conversations. We're actually engaged as a family, especially as we eat. No cell phones. Like when you turn around and you see that every single person sitting down is texting somebody else and not really even getting engaged. Well, my family doesn't do that. And it has made a really big impact, on, well, food decisions and how we eat, feeling fuller off of less. But second thing is just getting more engagement with the family and really appreciating and enjoying the time a lot more.
Yeah, well, because we need the personal connection. And I don't remember, I didn't write down which study it was, but there's a study that actually shows adolescents who are addictive or not quite addicted, but dependent on cell phone use are more lonely and more depressed.
Man, you know what? I just found it.
Did you? Okay.
I promise I just found it.
Yeah, I believe it. And they're missing that connection, and face-to-face connection is where our relationships are built. And you just don't really get that online the same way. Hey, Cindy, I'm glad you're out there.
Hey, Cindy. So of these studies, man, this is crazy. 47% of parents surveyed believe their child has a smartphone addiction. Of teachers surveyed, 67% noticed their students being negatively distracted by mobile devices in class. 67. Whoa. And compared to teens who only spend an hour on electronic devices daily, teens who spend 5 or more hours a day on electronic devices are 71% more likely to exhibit suicide risk factors.
Yeah. What it's doing to their dopamine reward circuit is it's actually ruining. It's like a drug. It's ruining their brain. And that's a whole nother conversation. So let's stick to the relationship. Simon Sinek actually says, and I took this on when I heard him say this, even if your phone is upside down out on the table, it still is giving the person you're with the message that you're not present. So I try to keep my phone in my bag. I try not to put it up on the table. True. Even if you're not looking at it, because there was a time where I'd pick it up. And then when I had a watch that vibrated every time, I can't find myself looking at it all the time. So I just took it off because I
get no notifications.
Good, yeah.
I only get, what are your steps?
Hey, Nicole. Nicole's out there too.
That's it. I do not get notifications at all. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. So think about that, guys. Put it away. But now we're going to give you some other statistics that's going to help you from a health perspective. Okay. So how it affects your eyes. Let's start with that. Do you guys know that your eyes are the only part of your brain that are on the outside of your skull? Did you know they're actually part of your brain? Isn't that cool? But they are light sensing. And the light gives your brain the signals whether to be alert or asleep, and it's regulated by the contrast in light. So it's the yellows and the blues. Yellows are at sunrise, serotonin is released. Blues are at sunset, melatonin is released because serotonin wakes you up, and Sarah makes you up, and Mel puts you to sleep. Okay,
Melatonin and cortisol.
that's right. So blue light on the phones disrupts this process. So we're gonna give you some little tips and tricks in a second, but it definitely causes sleep disturbances, hormone disruption as well. Because if you're not, first of all, if you're looking at your phones all the way up to bedtime, you're not allowing your body to create the natural process of being ready to sleep. So you don't go into the deep, the light wave sleep, the delta sleep that you need to go into right away in the beginning of sleep, which is causing the imbalance, beginning the process of the imbalances of hormones for one. But yeah, so my hack I'm going to give you, Zach, is get outside every day if you can, first thing in the morning or in the evening. 2 hours on either side of sunrise and sunset. So sun comes up at 6. Anytime in the next 2 hours, be outside, walking and looking long distance. That's going to be about the next part I'm going to talk about. But walking and looking long distance at sunrise and sunset is going to give your signal to your brain the proper light contrast to help regulate those hormones so that you get better sleep.
Something you do want to do is make sure if you do have contact lenses, you take them off. You want to make sure that you're getting your eyes are actually getting full exposure.
No sunglasses either.
Yep, exactly. No blocking of your actual eyes in and of themselves. It makes a significant difference. Your body will start registering and coming alive, or helping regulate your diurnal rhythm. I always have
doing the same thing.
Diurnal rhythm. There's too many vowels, not enough consonants together. It's weird. The diurnal rhythm, which, as Alicia just explained, your cortisol and serotonin need to be very high in the morning and low, more closer to the evening, while at night, your melatonin starts coming up as that cortisol and that serotonin start going down. Well, more importantly, the cortisol going down. Right. And that the melatonin is starting to come up, and they are inversely related, but this is a really good hack that will get it.
That's right.
Off that, a second one that you can do is immediately cut out screen time. I would say about 2 hours, but preferably 3 before bed. That blue light significantly awakens the brain, connects to that your eyes, which are part of your brain, as Alicia just explained, and it starts really turning on, especially the activity part of your prefrontal cortex and your neurons getting engaged and involved. How many times have you guys been sitting there in bed scrolling through your phone, and the next thing you know, you look over and it's 2 hours later, you've wasted your time, you put your phone down, you lay down, you're like, dude, I'm not sleepy. What's going on? That's the blue light overstimulating you.
Right. Now, so don't pick up your phone in the middle of the night. It'll affect your sleep if you wake up. Good advice.
Shift or using the blue blocker glasses, like it can help a little bit, but nothing beats just turning the damn thing off.
Right. And you get to spend more family time if you do that too.
Or hanky panky in bed too.
Yeah, there you go. Important for your relationships.
One of the biggest blockers, guys. Don't
True.
Get rid of the thing so you can actually be engaged with your significant other.
Yeah. Cindy said that's why she took her daughter's phone away. So good for you, Cindy. And I'm surprised at parents who let their kids go to bed with phones. Okay, Truth Tuesday truths, guys. Why are you letting your kids go to bed with cell phones? Why? They're staying up, or they're getting up in the middle of the night and they're staying on the phone. I promise you, and they need their sleep as much as a toddler does. So that's my little rant about that.
First thing we did, we immediately regulated when the kids would have their cell phones, and they had to leave them in a little case downstairs, and then get in the morning. Had a different alarm that wasn't the cell phone. In fact, we can talk about the EM fields.
Yeah, we shouldn't be sleeping on our phones next to our beds anyway.
Yeah, mine is my alarm, but I do put it on airplane mode to ensure that the EM fields aren't disrupting my brain waves either.
Yeah.
Another topic for
Another topic.
time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but in all honesty, like set that thing on, set it on airplane mode, set it aside for those 2 hours just before bed. Read, do something fun, engage with your significant other, whatever the case may be. But here's the honest truth: stop freaking being addicted and attached to your electronic babysitter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about how else these cell phones are affecting us. When we work a regular job, more used to, but especially in the past year and a half, when people have been at home most of the time, when you work a regular job and you're in a meeting on Zoom, or you're working at your desk, you often in between meetings get up and go walk to the water cooler, to the bathroom, down the hall, talking to somebody. You're looking in all directions. You're looking in the distance. And when you're doing that, it's the opposite of what we do with we have our phones. When we use our phone, it requires us to use our up close field of vision. And this causes stress. It literally raises our autonomic stressors. It increases our need to be vigilant and pay attention. That's what we do when we're looking up close. Have you noticed how when you're working up close at your desk or looking on your phone, you start feeling that those levels of cortisol and things that being released, you feel like it's fight or flight. That's what it's doing. It's actually causing that hormonal reaction in your body. And when this second part of the hack from before, when you're walking, especially outside, looking far distances, you're doing the opposite. You're having calming neurotransmitters released in your body, and you're relaxing that on an autonomic nervous system into calmness. And so it gives you a break in between. We want that vigilance at certain times, but we don't want to live in that high stress state all the time.
Man, we're in an industry where everything is difficult to say.
Yeah, we are. For sure.
Autonomic. Oh, man, see, I even screwed it up.
Too many cool words.
Yeah, and the other thing I've noticed in recent years, number one, my eyesight has really been affected the more computer I've been.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know you and I, we use our cheaters and our readers. I have contact lenses, by the way, guys, and I also have reading glasses now. My field of vision has started getting a lot more strained because I'm my eyes are overburdened so frequently with trying to make out detail in that same position of slightly squinting or trying to pay attention to the detail with that really bright light flashing back at me. And it's hard on the eyes. That's right. Really does age our eyes faster.
It does.
And if you've spent most of your day, especially if you're one of us desk jockeys, sitting there at the computer, it's even better to give your eyes the rest 2 to 3 hours before bed. Not even jumping into TV. TV is another one of those things that, we're talking about the cell phones, but TV emits the same kind of light. Just get rid of any kind of electronic or screen 2 to 3 hours before bed. Give those eyes a break. Give the brain a break.
Okay, cool. So here, I got another one for you. Zach, tell me if you knew this. Did you know that specifically the use of screens between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. down regulates dopamine?
I didn't. Dopamine? No, I did not know that.
It actually kicks off the disappointment mechanism. It's pro-depressive. So specifically between 11 and 4, you really shouldn't be using your phones. So
it inhibits dopamine. I didn't know
it does. And which is that dopamine reward system is what gives you motivation and actually helps you with your body movement as well. But you're suppressing that motivation. It's also lack of dopamine increases depression. It also causes ADD. Lack of dopamine increases issues with ADD and ADHD. That's a problem that stems from. So you definitely don't want to look between 11 p and 4 a. Keep those off. You should be asleep during that time anyway. And again, that's another conversation for another day. So I thought that'd be a good little fact for you. So since we're talking about the dopamine, though, let's go into the depression and how it affects our neurotransmitters. I'm gonna let you talk about that.
The neurotransmitter depression, or are we still talking about cell phone? Sorry.
Yeah, no, just how the phones affect it. Do you have more to say about that with the phones affecting
Yeah,
our?
well, in actuality, this is actually a new statistic to me, and I know that like there's two factors also going on. I mean, you've got social media comparison syndrome, like all the things that are actually going on
That's right.
there, and social media and a lot of these things. So, like, if you're doing these, participating in these activities really, really late at night, when also your defense is a little bit lower, you're kind of just passively taking these things in. You're accepting that that's the reality. This one that you're in kind of stinks. And man, I'm sorry, Alicia, after you explained what you said, like it kind of got my brain thinking, like, if you're in that comparison syndrome, but also your dopamine levels start getting suppressed too, that starts getting ingrained. Like,
Yeah.
this just opened, that little fact that you just gave me really started kind of opening up my world. So when you asked me that question, I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm connecting these things. See, this is what happens
Two
when
great
you're
minds come together. You get
exactly, and
55 years of
you
yeah.
know too much. Suddenly, like, you can make these connections really fast. But think about this for a second, guys. So if we're already in that space of the comparison syndrome, and everybody's highlight reel being displayed on social media is like, it just looks like your life isn't as good as theirs, because they're always displaying that the amazing side of everything. Pictures are always ideal. They're standing by their best friend's Ferrari or Jaguar or
Right.
whatever, Maserati, whatever the case may be, or they're getting the best pictures of their vacation,
Mm-hmm.
or seem to live on endless vacations because they're posting the last 15 years of vacations, but seem to be living in perpetual vacation. Your life would suck compared to that, right?
Yep.
But it just isn't the reality. It really, truly isn't. And now, with your dopamine being suppressed and you being in a more suggestive state, you're actually really accessing and opening yourself up to being more influenced by the comparison syndrome. Man, I love that statistic about dopamine.
So let me tell you that the Harvard professor, neuroscience professor, Dr. Andrew Huberman, does so much research in this area, and this is what he's found. He also said that that same time period between 11 and 4 actually causes dysregulation of your blood sugar. How about that?
That's true. That one I actually did know, and
You did? Okay.
that's true. Again, with the diurnal rhythm, when a lot of people that are awake during that time, when your cortisol starts coming back up, I think it's right around 11 p.m., your cortisol starts coming back up. It goes down and then it comes back up. Cortisol actually starts stimulating, or your body starts getting stimulated to the point where it's going, okay, I'm still going to be awake. I need energy.
Yep.
So I need to eat.
Yep.
So you're essentially putting yourself into a position where those late night cravings that kick in are for a reason. It's because you ain't asleep, you're overstimulated, and suddenly your body's going, hey, let's go get some fuel. And usually at that time of night, you're seeking the chips, the Oreos, or whatever the garbage is that you forgot to throw out, or whatever the kids have for their lunches, which you shouldn't be eating that stuff anyway.
Right now.
But it shouldn't be in the house. But that's the reason why a lot of those late night cravings start coming around. And, Alicia just gave you the research as to why. But that late night snacking, man, I have to support so many people on breaking that habit. And usually what winds up happening when they cut out the screen time, when they actually get to bed before 10, like 10 or before, and start utilizing a better strategy of getting rid of the phone, etc., that late night snacking suddenly starts to take care of itself. And that's why.
There you go. Okay, so let's wrap this up with, and before we take the last thing on, I want to tell you guys that we're here. I want you guys to go follow my brother, Zach, because in a minute, we're going to go over there and have a conversation about a completely different subject. And if you can't be here for both of them, make sure to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. We are going to put one together for Midlife Metabolic Mastery, but right now it will definitely be on there so that you can catch it on the flip side. So
remember,
Zach,
lose fat, not faith after 40.
uh-huh.
Life Metabolic Mastery, everything that we're sharing with you guys right now, we actually put in a very easy and cohesive fashion. and it's basically paint by numbers. It's only as hard as it needs to be effective, but it's the easiest way that you possibly can to raise your metabolism and lose 20 plus pounds in just a 6-week time frame in your 40, 50 plus range. And it takes into consideration all the crap that we have to go through in that range. Alicia and I both are either going through or have been through it, and we've come out the other side in a lot better shape, but we've also helped thousands of people get through it. Yeah, that's
perfect. So stay tuned for more of that, guys. If you do want more information on that, definitely give us a DM so you can be first to know. It's going to be all rolling out here in just a minute. Okay, last thing, Zach, this is the one you brought to my attention as we wrap this up, specifically to people in their 40s and 50s. What happens to us because of cell phone use?
And what specific case?
Okay, about how
you're talking about age specific.
Yeah,
the stats that I was actually looking up.
But even without the stats, you know the stuff. So
yeah, well, in all honesty, guys, so most of our kids are actually growing up with the ability to process this, but most of the 40 and 50 somethings are bringing a brand new stimulus in that we have not been programmed to actually be able to defend against. So we're getting into as much of an addictive, I'm sorry, I don't have the statistics. I had them.
We can drop them down below. It'll be okay.
Yeah, I had them a couple of years ago, but go look these up for yourself. In fact, always go and test.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Please. And we're entering into an actual area as the 40 and 50 something with no frame of reference and no defense against being incredibly addicted to this silly thing. And it's affecting our generation just as hard, if not harder, than our teens. So it's one of the major reasons why, I started noticing myself like having a really hard time of getting engaged and being one-on-one with people without feeling like I had to constantly check this. It's why I turn off those notifications. It's a reason why I've implemented what I have and did the research and found out, oh, this makes a lot of sense. It's also the reason why I see all of my clients always having their phone in between sets and working out, having to go and check it. And it's like,
isn't that crazy? Because we're getting a dopamine hit. It's definitely.
Wait a minute, but work, and I'm like, work will be there.
Oh, sure.
I promise. Do this workout session for yourself. I promise work will still be there when you're done.
Sure. And it's going to be there when you die. So Zach, do you remember this? Because when I was growing up, I remember the phone would ring in the middle of dinner and my mom, not your mom, would say,
Mom,
it can wait till after dinner. We didn't answer the phone in the middle of dinner ever. So why are we picking up our phones now?
And we actually ate together at the family dinners,
right.
Remember?
Also very important. Another conversation. All right, guys, that's it. Go see us on the flip side. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining Zach and I as we launch our Midlife Metabolic Mastery. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell for more. See you soon.